In the heart of the Pacific, during the most tumultuous days of 1944, when the Second World War's tide was beginning to turn, but uncertainty still loomed like a fog over the lives of those who fought beneath it, three young and spirited American fighter pilots, Lieutenant Robert "Red" Kingsley, Second Lieutenant James "Jim" Dalton, and Lieutenant Commander Walter "Walt" Brewer, took off from a small island base in their P-47 Thunderbolts on a routine mission that would mark the beginning of a legend, not because of their victories in air combat or strategic brilliance, but because they simply never returned, vanishing over an expanse of dense, hostile jungle in a region uncharted and feared by even the most seasoned war veterans. Their mission had been to escort a bombing raid over enemy supply lines in what was then northern Papua New Guinea, an area riddled with unpredictable weather, rugged mountainous terrain, and near mythical stories of spirits and vanishing soldiers. And as their formation disappeared from radar, all contact ceased, prompting a frantic but short-lived search that was ultimately abandoned due to worsening weather, Japanese anti-aircraft threats, and lack of visibility, consigning the three men to the ever-growing list of wartime MIA, missing in action, while their families were given folded flags, medals, and velvet boxes, and final letters home read aloud through trembling voices and tear-filled eyes. The war ground on without them, and their names, though etched into memorials and remembered by those closest to them, slowly faded from collective memory as the decades passed, until one day in the thick of the 21st century, amidst a world reshaped by technology and geopolitical change, a group of jungle explorers equipped with high-resolution drones and metal detection arrays stumbled across the twisted remains of three unmistakably American fighter planes deep in the jungle undergrowth, well preserved by the conditions and hidden under decades of moss, vines, and silence, and immediately set off a flurry of interest from historians, forensic analysts, and the Pentagon's Defense POW-MIA Accounting Agency, DPAA, which specializes in identifying the remains of lost soldiers, and through the miraculous endurance of serial numbers, insignias, and preserved personal effects, dog tags, flight jackets, even a set of love letters from Red Kingsley to his sweetheart in Boston, tucked inside a sealed tin under the pilot seat. The identities of the three lost aviators were confirmed with DNA testing matched to living relatives, drawing global attention to a mystery that had once gripped a squadron, then a base, then an entire community, now rediscovered after 75 years of silence. And as word spread, families were contacted. The Dalton family, still residing in Iowa, where James had grown up working on a farm before enlisting at 17. The Kingsley lineage, now spanning coast to coast, but unified in grief turned to war. And the Brewer descendants, with a great-granddaughter serving as a Navy pilot herself, inspired by tales of valor long embedded in the family law but never fully understood until now. And a formal ceremony was arranged at Arlington National Cemetery, where all three would be honored posthumously, not only for their service, but for their mysterious, almost spiritual return from history's oblivion. As the flag-draped coffins arrived under solemn skies and the faint of modern jets overhead saluted the ghosts of their ancestors. And yet the story did not end there, for among the artifacts recovered were the pilot's mission logs, detailing encounters with strange radio interference, sightings of unexplained aircraft shadows above the jungle canopy, and final entries filled with urgency and uncertainty, leading some aviation historians to speculate that the planes may have been shot down not by Japanese forces, but by friendly fire, and a mishap never publicly admitted, sparking debates across forums and veterans groups about how such records were kept and buried. And others took a more mythical approach, suggesting the jungle had claimed them not by accident, but by design, invoking local folklore that spoke of the sky spirits, guardians of the sacred mountains, who chose warriors of honor to protect the land beyond death. Though such theories were, of course, met with skepticism, yet could not be entirely dismissed, given the eerie preservation of the aircraft and the near-perfect condition of certain items, like a watch, still ticking upon retrieval. Mechanically impossible, yet witnessed and documented. So their story took on dual lives, one in history, one in legend, taught in military academies and whispered about in the alleys of aviation law, with documentaries, books, and even a dramatized series produced years later portraying the final moments of Red, Jim, and Walt not as victims of war, but as explorers of the unknown, pioneers of the forgotten, and brothers bonded not only by uniform, but by destiny, whose final journey through the skies became a tale of return, revelation, and reverence, ultimately reminding a fast-moving world that sometimes the past waits patiently to be rediscovered, and that behind every missing soldier is a story waiting to be told, not with the static echoes of history books, but with the living breath of memory, unearthed from jungles, kept alive by families, and etched once again not only into stone, but into the conscience of a nation that, at least for a moment, paused to remember not only how they died, but how they came home.